When this baby gets up to 88 miles.
Why did I even ask the question? Right? Several inventors have been battling for the record over the past 5 years.
Wow, it's a competition.
Good Day Chicago at 8 starts now.
On Good Day Chicago, you better dig everything out of the closet. Roseanne is live on ways to stay warm.
The Village Board in Orland Park makes a big decision about the future of an Amazon facility.
And boy, do our friends from Block Club Chicago have some unique and fun stories to share a little bit later, including how one photographer has craned his way into the record book. This is really remarkable. The record for number of bird species caught on camera in a calendar year here in Chicago. You won't believe the number.
Neat.
You won't believe the number.
And the sun is rising here over the city. We're going to turn it over to Caitlin Cody for a look at this.
Sunny and warm.
Yeah.
Sunny and warm.
Think warm thoughts,
yeah.
Okay? Yesterday I was planning all my summer vacations because that's where my brain is at. We got to look forward to that. But we do have the sunshine at least. We have one of the two things, sunny skies, but it's that deceiving sunshine. As we take a look at the regional view, you can see snow is still coming down for our neighbors in Michigan, western Michigan, all the way down to Berrien County, receiving snowfall this morning. But for us in Chicago, it's just cold. Temperatures right now ranging from 0 to about 5 degrees. Actually, I see a 2-degree below zero temperature there at Woodstock, but it's 0 in Waukegan as well as Aurora, 4 at O'Hare, 4 at Midway, as well as the lakefront. Temperatures in northwest Indiana around 1 to 3 when you step out the door, but this is what it feels like, 10 degrees below zero at O'Hare. So my concern this morning is going to be for the kids. If they are still going to the bus stop, make sure you do bundle them up because this is dangerously cold. Limit your exposure, especially early. We have snow in the forecast as soon as later this evening. I'll time that out for you ahead.
Okay, Caitlin, thank you so much. 3 categories of cold to talk about.
Okay.
We got cold, we got freezing, and then we have please don't hurt me anymore. And at this point, we are at the please phase.
Yes, Roseanne is live on how the intense cold is causing problems, and thank goodness she is live inside. Roseanne?
Yes. Yes, the please don't hurt me anymore phase is when I roll out the flannel. That's how you can tell it's cold. When we're not on the street telling you how cold, but rather dashing into the closest coffee shop to tell you. You know all the signs. We were showing that actually beautiful footage earlier. It looks really pretty. Steam rising on the Chicago River and coming off of the buildings downtown despite the beaming sun. It's a sure sign that it's bitter cold when you see all that steam. The snow on the ground still frozen in place. It's a really good reminder, a good day that you should try to avoid going outside if you can. But if you are, of course, plenty of people are bundling up and taking it in stride.
It is freezing cold out here. You really feel it in your face. It gets to you quick. It gets windy in between these buildings too, especially. I'm gonna have to start running to work soon.
Is the coat for days like today?
For days like today, my wife's rule is if it's below like 25, we got to put the jacket on.
And do you think that it makes a difference? Big difference?
I think so. I mean, she would go for many more walks during the day if she, you know, with the jacket on. Like if she's warm, she'll keep going.
We see plenty of, you know, I remember the day when all dogs didn't have coats, but now on a day like today, it's hard to find one that's not wearing a coat. His owner, the pet papa there, is from Minnesota. So he said, it's no big deal to me. I'm used to this stuff. And, you know, to a degree, we're all veterans, but it doesn't mean we want to dive in a coffee shop when we can. Back to you guys.
All right. Okay, Roseanne, thank you. I'm glad she's inside this morning. It is frigid out there. Appreciate it, Roseanne. All right, other news. There is a search for someone who shot an official in Indiana.
Brian is here now with more. Brian?
Well, police are now looking for the person who shot a Superior Court judge and his wife. Judge Steve Meyer and his wife were both shot inside their home in Lafayette on Sunday. Police say that they received medical treatment and are expected to be okay. Authorities are not aware of any threats against the judge or anybody else at the courthouse, but that there will be increased security going forward. The FBI and multiple state agencies are currently investigating. 3 people are in the hospital after a fire on the city's north side. It happened around 9:30 p.m. in the Goose Island neighborhood, about a block just north of the Chicago Blue Line station. The fire department says that 2 of the people hurt are firefighters. They were able to put out the fire by 9:45 p.m. Investigators are now looking into how that fire started. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is expected to attend tomorrow's Supreme Court argument over President Trump's attempt to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. President Trump claims that Cook committed mortgage fraud, which she denies. Powell's attendance comes after months of mounting tensions between the White House and the central bank, with the president threatening the Fed with subpoenas to force rate cuts. Powell's term as Fed chair will end this coming May. Natalie?
Brian, the Supreme Court could rule on a tariff case involving a Vernon Hills company. Learning Resources challenged the president's ability to impose tariffs without congressional approval. This is a toy company in Vernon Hills. It says tariffs threaten its ability to stay in business and had to change where and how it manufactures toys. If the Supreme Court were to rule against the president, the country would have to refund billions of dollars in tariffs to importers.
The Naperville City Council is set to vote on a controversial data center tonight. Now, there's been worries about just how much power it would draw and the impact on the local water supply. Plus, some people aren't too thrilled about how close it would be to their homes, including some of the exhaust that the center could wind up producing. The group behind the data center says it is heard that the concerns are there, has listened to the public, and has tweaked the plans accordingly.
Department of Justice officials are in Minnesota investigating after protesters disrupted a church service in St. Paul on Sunday. The group of at least 30 people was reportedly targeting a local ICE official who they say is also a pastor there. They blew whistles and yelled ICE out and justice for Renee Good. DHS and the FBI are also looking into the incident.
Spain is holding 3 days of mourning for the people killed in a high-speed train collision. The crash happened Sunday. At least 40 people were killed. A privately operated train derailed and 2 of its cars crashed into a train controlled by Spain's national company heading to Madrid. The first part of the investigation is looking into the track, but officials say they have not ruled anything out.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is scheduled to join striking nurses once again on the picket line today. Senator Bernie Sanders will also be on hand. 15,000 nurses went on strike last week. They want more money, better staffing, and protections against violence in the workplace. Hospitals impacted by the strike are open, but have scaled back on non-emergency surgeries.
Indiana, once the worst football program in the country, not anymore, everybody. Hoosiers are the national champs, even though Miami did make them sweat it out. There's the Heisman winner doing his Heisman thing. Fernando Mendoza plowing his way into the end zone on 4th down there. Defense sealed it with an interception right at the end there for a 27-21 victory.
And we're 16-0, and I guess we're 27-2 since Indiana, but we're 16-0. 16 national champions at Indiana University, which I know a lot of people thought was never possible. It probably is one of the greatest sports stories of all time.
If not the greatest, at least in my mind.
I thought that was
this
Rudy.
Reporter's mind.
Okay.
Hey, and also an Indiana story, right?
I know.
Okay, this, as we mentioned, Indiana's first football national championship. At one time, the Hoosiers had the most losses in all of college football. As you can imagine, Caitlin, I'm on cloud 9.
Yes.
Stayed up late watching it with my dad and my son. My dad graduated there in '71. I'm class of 2000. So we never thought this could ever be possible.
How long has that coach been there?
Only 2 years.
So it's
Not
another
unbelievable.
coach story. Yes. I hope my babies go to Indiana. That would be so fun.
My fingers are crossed.
So fun. Congratulations, Anthony. I'm surprised you're here today.
Hey.
Take a celebratory lap, you know. All right, let's talk about this weather. It is brutally cold out there this morning. Wind chills are below 0 for most, and that's where I want to start because it feels like 4 degrees at the lakefront, 6 degrees below 0 in Gary, 10 degrees below 0 at O'Hare, 14 degrees below 0 from Woodstock to Waukegan. So it is going to be a dangerously cold start. Now, temperatures are going to remain chilly today, but we've got beautiful blue sky. Over the next 12 hours, you can see the feel-like temperature climbing to about 10 to 15 this afternoon as our peak. But then as we get into tonight, we stay pretty steady. Temperatures aren't decreasing. Instead, we're staying in the 20s. Here's your futurecast because we do have the potential for snow tonight into early tomorrow. And then again, tomorrow evening, we could see some snow around. So let's time it out. First of all, lunchtime hour today. Temperatures hovering right around the upper teens to about 20 degrees. That's going to carry us through this afternoon at 3:45, right around 21 from the lakefront to O'Hare. And then this evening, the clouds are going to build, and here comes that snowfall into early tomorrow. Heaviest snow is expected to be north of Chicago. I'm talking about along the Wisconsin border. But even as we get into tomorrow, we have the potential for some snow as we get to the evening hours. So we are going to have temperatures slightly warmer tomorrow, hovering around 30, but we do have additional snowfall. And accumulation, most of us under an inch as we get to our northern counties, Lake, McHenry, into Wisconsin. That's where we could see around 3 to 4 inches total. Back to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Measles are going to college, where the first case has been found.
And you never know what you'll find in an old wall, like maybe a gun that's 122 years old. Yes, that actually happened here locally, and we'll show you the pictures of that firearm in just a moment. We're going to have more weather coverage up next, but as we go to break, here's a quick look at your cold 7-day forecast.
What are you girls doing?
We're doing all the heating, plumbing, and electric around here.
All right, I know you girls know stuff, but let's leave it to our trusted local experts. Let's call Four Seasons.
It's about time you figured it out.
Whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, air duct cleaning, or generators, you can always trust Four Seasons.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Welcome back. Frigid Tuesday morning here at 8:13. We appreciate you starting your day with us.
And here's a look at some of the stories we're following. Listen to this. Renovation work digs up a very old gun in Thornton. That gun was in a wall. Crews renovating the Thornton Distilling Company found a Colt handgun that's believed to be from 1903. It was inside a wall, as I said, in the holster and loaded. However, police say after checking it, they don't think any crooks or gangsters actually owned it. It's not connected to any crimes. The gun was given back to the property owner.
Very cool. All right, about 100 cars. This is wild. Look at the video. That's drone video right there. Caught in a pileup that happened in Michigan during a snow squall. Police say strong winds, blinding snow, made it impossible for drivers to see one another on I-196. That's right outside Grand Rapids. Both sides of the interstate had to be shut down for hours up there. People were hurt, but everyone should be okay, which is, I mean, that's a miracle. No one was seriously hurt.
Remarkable. I'm looking at the cars that didn't get hurt or didn't get hit. They're just in the snow. How lucky that would be, right? I mean, your car's stuck, but you have
yeah, exactly.
minimal
So
damage.
the alternative.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Paramount Theater in Aurora celebrating 15 years of its Broadway season this year, and it is showing off the lineup. The season starts in August with Mean Girls, A Christmas Carol starting in November, a Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte next year, and concludes with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Now, if you're a member, renewals start next week. If you want single tickets, you'll have to wait until June.
Very cool, very cool. All right, it's 8:15. This cold is concerning.
Yeah.
Caitlin, it's very concerning. What are we doing today?
Those people in Michigan, I looked that up too yesterday because I saw it on social media, 100+ cars, and there was a squall warning for them, so that Western Michigan, they get hit so often with that lake effect. Okay, talking about our local forecast, very cold. Right now it's 4 degrees at the lakefront and O'Hare. Some of you have actual temperatures below zero. I'm talking about McHenry County, Woodstock. You are at 2 degrees below zero. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We've got the blue sky, we have sunshine, but we also have the cold. And actually, through the day, we're going to have those chilly temperatures sticking with us. Also, we have the chance for snow returning as soon as this evening into tonight and early tomorrow. So we aren't going to hold on to the blue sky. Instead, we're going to be replacing it with clouds and that chance for some snowfall. But looking at our futurecast wind chill. So these are not our actual temperatures, but what it's going to feel like. Lunchtime, if you are headed out for maybe some lunch with some friends, it's going to feel like 3 degrees outside at the lakefront, 4 at O'Hare, 0 from Waukegan to Woodstock, and then we get on into this afternoon and evening time frame, 4 or 5, and it feels like we could be around 10 to 15. Tonight, temperatures, they're not going down. Instead, they stay steady, if not go in the opposite direction as we head into early tomorrow. So that's the good news. Tomorrow's going to be the warmest day for the rest of the week. Actual temperatures pushing to about 30, but it is still going to be chilly with that wind chill, that feel-like temperature right around 20. Now, talking about that chance for snow, let's see what that looks like. Here's your futurecast. So again, during the day today, it's just going to be cold, sunny, quiet. Clouds filled first, and then this evening, closer to around 9 to 10, we start to see some snow moving in. It's a quick hit in the overnight and early part of tomorrow hours. And then again in the afternoon, 4:45 on your Wednesday, we have the chance for some scattered additional snowfall. Most of us have minimal accumulation. The closer you get to that Wisconsin border, the better potential that you have for a few inches of snow. Winter is here. I'll show you that 7-day forecast ahead. Natalie.
Thank you, Caitlin. Prince Harry back in a London court today in his lawsuit against the Daily Mail. Harry says the Daily Mail breached his privacy for 20 years. Elizabeth Hurley testifying today as an example of alleged unlawful invasion into her private life when the Daily Mail reported on a paternity suit involving her son. Hurley and Elton John have joined the suit. Harry will testify later this week. All of them say the Daily Mail had private investigators bug their phones to record private conversations.
All right, the measles have now spread to its first major college campus this year. One case has been reported at Clemson University. The person is isolating as the Department of Health is now trying to reach anyone who may have been exposed here. There have been more than 550 cases in South Carolina. More than 100 cases were recorded just last week.
And a 14-year-old girl in Georgia is recovering from acid burns. Her mother says bullies attacked the girl over the weekend. The mother says the bullies came to their apartment complex to fight the girl. During the fight, the mother says one of the other girls used a mug to splash her daughter. She received third-degree chemical burns.
Been to the school at least 3 to 4 times. I've talked to the counselor. I tried to get seated with the parents to talk about the situations, but I couldn't get through with that.
Police are going to look into this, or they are looking into it. The school district has not commented.
Oh, awful. Okay. Driving habits are driving home sales, apparently. A recent report from Realtor.com found that new housing supply continues to be built in car-dependent areas despite a growing demand for walkable communities. The report cites data from the Federal Highway Administration that shows vehicle miles traveled per capita has dipped more than percentage points since 2019. The report suggests building more housing units closer to transit stations could also help boost local economies.
Today on Chicago Now, we're going to get a preview of the Chicago International Puppet Festival, because who doesn't love puppets, Anthony? And a TikTok chef gets published. We'll talk with them about their new cookbook and what's hot when it comes to weddings. You're going to find out about the 2026 wedding trends.
Okay.
Are you...
All right, welcome back, 8:22. Don't let looks deceive you. It looks nice and sunny out there, and you can see like it looks like melted snow right by the bean. Nope, that's salt, okay? It is frigid outside, and we're gonna check back in with Kate in just a moment. But first, it is Tuesday, which means our friends from Block Club Chicago are joining us here in studio to tell us about some of the neighborhood stories they are working on. Reporter Michael Liptrot here to run us through three that I absolutely love. We're starting off with a local guy who has set a new record when it comes to bird watching.
Right.
Run us through the details here, because when I saw the number here of bird species, my mind was blown.
Yes, Tariq Shahzad saw 296 different species of bird in 2025, and it broke the previous record also set by him of 294 species the previous year.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. Do we know where he saw these? Are they Midwest? Is it Chicago, or is this nationwide? Because 296, that's wild.
He's all over, but a lot in the Chicago area. And actually, coming over here, I was listening to a podcast, him talking about just what his process and him going out and seeing these birds. I didn't realize that Illinois has the second highest population of wintering bald eagles. And so he talked about like going out every year, seeing that, and also the aspect of wetland conservation, where with him being able to break these records, it brings a lot into question of, will he be able to continue to see as many birds with just how their natural habitat is disappearing?
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of advocacy looped into this record, and the question of, can someone hit 300 if these habitats are disappearing at the same rate?
4 more species, and but you're right, that really puts a magnifying glass on the issue itself locally.
Right.
All right, cool. So you check that out on at blockclubchicago.org. Next up, there's a new athletic complex going in East Garfield Park. Tell us about this.
Right. This is on Madison Street with the Department of Planning and Development. They're using a cluster of lots, vacant lots, turning them into the Madison Street Cultural, Athletic and Cultural Complex. And this is going to be a complex that has a mix of things: programming, education, youth workforce development, sports, basketball courts, some of everything.
Right.
And then this is just 1 mile away from the United Center with the upcoming 1901 project. And so we're really seeing just a big wave of redevelopment come through on the west side.
That whole area. I mean, the 1901 project is in the $7 billion range.
Right.
Reinsdorf and all them and the Wirtz family collaborating on that. There's like an indoor baseball field in this thing, I understand.
Right. There's going to be a whole baseball diamond, some of everything.
So the city's initiating this. Is it like basically just a public space, like a field house that way? Or do you have to have a membership or anything like that? Do we know yet the details?
So this is going to be geared. It's going to be geared towards a lot of youth, and so making sure it's accessible.
That's
going to be a big part of it.
Okay, this is another cool thing. We all use Wikipedia, probably on a weekly basis right there.
Yeah.
There is a gathering. You never really think about who is actually writing those articles, right?
You don't.
There's some local Wikipedia writers that are actually going to be gathering, but to me this is kind of a fascinating look behind the scenes about how this site works.
Right. So this past weekend, for the 25th anniversary of Wikipedia, some of the Chicago, the term is Wikimedians.
Wikimedians.
The people who write, edit, and aggregate these pages come together, and they came together and just celebrated 25 years of writing Wikipedia pages.
These are volunteers, right?
Right. These people are some people that just really passionate about public knowledge, and open source knowledge. And when we think about like Kasama and these other pages, it's really big. And it really, between the Wikipedia page and the bird watching groups, is big when you think about just internet culture and how people these niche groups are brought together
in real life.
Right. And even like we were talking about before we came on, like this weekend, me and some friends got together and we had a soup day. And just thinking about
who's into soup, like soup nerds and that kind of thing?
Soup nerds. Like, what's your favorite soup?
I would say a good chicken tortilla soup.
Actually, we had a chicken tortilla soup.
Did you? Do you have a favorite, Michael?
I'm still figuring out, but I think a loaded baked potato is good. So shout out to the soup troop.
There we go. Yeah, internet culture. When it spills into real life in positive ways, I absolutely love it. All right, you can check out all those stories. It's blockclubchicago.org, right? Sometimes I accidentally say .com. It's .org. Michael, thank you very much. Great stories this week. I love it. And hopefully that gentleman gets to 300 species next year.
So.
Okay, 827. The president's push for Greenland has been leading to some big-time tension with some longtime allies. We're going to hear from an international relations expert about what this could mean for the future of NATO. But before we get to that, let's check in real quick with Caitlin for a quick peek at her weather forecast.
Broccoli cheddar is by far the superior.
Oh, that's a good option.
With the bread bowl.
There you go. Yes.
All right, today's the day to make your soup because it is so cold outside, but it's beautiful. We've got blue sky. Temperatures right now ranging from 1 degree below zero to about 5 for most. It is going to be a cold one with the chance for snow returning this evening and tonight. A full check of your forecast is coming up.
It's the final word.
Welcome back. The stock market just opened. Take a look at that. We're giving you a live look. Right now, the Dow is trading down 632 points. Tariff threats by President Trump with our European allies over Greenland dragged down stock futures. Could be a bumpy road today at the NASDAQ.
Yeah,
Again,
we'll
down
keep you
614
posted.
now. Yeah.
Yep. All right, 8:31. Is there a thawing of relations between the Bears and the Illinois General Assembly?
Well, the Illinois Speaker of the State House, Chris Welch, appeared in a picture with Bears President Kevin Warren and Chairman George McCaskey. The state had been pretty firm about not giving the Bears a lot of public money for a new stadium, but in the last 2 weeks, the state of Indiana got very interested in trying to lure the Bears across the state line. The Bears still own land in Arlington Heights, though the team wants tax breaks. They want promises that the property tax isn't going to be bananas there to build the stadium. Arlington Heights, the mayor, says he wants lawmakers to help him out. As they say, stay tuned.
It's amazing what interest from another state will do to lawmakers' attitude here locally, right? Okay, Cardinal Blaise Cupich is one of the 3 most influential Catholic leaders in the country, and he is joined with the other 2 to criticize President Trump over both Venezuela and Greenland. In a statement, Cupich and the others say that America's movements are raising moral questions, including the use of the military and the meaning of peace. Cupich was joined by the cardinals of both Washington and Newark. White House has not responded to their statements. All right, the Orland Park Village Board is about to make a really big decision about a major new Amazon facility.
Not everybody there is happy with this. Our reporter Say Kwan talked with residents this morning and joins us live with their reaction. Good morning, Say.
Hey, good morning to you. Well, this new Amazon facility is probably different than what you're thinking of. It's not like a distribution facility or a warehouse building with a bunch of those trucks around. It's more like a Walmart supercenter, maybe even a Costco, but even bigger. Amazon is planning this brand new retail concept, and they're hoping to bring this right here to Orland Park, an area already home to many major retail stores like Target and Costco. The box store would feature groceries and general merchandise with more than 800 parking spaces. And as you can imagine, it's also expected to be massive. We're talking 225,000 square feet. Just for some context here, guys, Walmart supercenters typically average around 180,000 square feet. This would be built right along 159th Street and LaGrange Road, an already busy intersection with those major retailers pretty much right in this area. Now, I caught up with 2 gentlemen who live here. They've been living here for quite some time. Their names are Joe and Clint. They're very good friends, but they had completely different opinions on that Amazon facility coming here. Listen.
Because I don't think the mall's doing very well. So I think it's going to help the community bring back some, make it live, make it move. I know people are concerned about the traffic, but the traffic's the traffic.
I think the traffic at 159th and LaGrange is a choke point right now, and I think it'll just get a lot worse. And second of all, Amazon has a long history of coming in an area and trying to stifle the competition.
Well, Amazon representatives say multiple traffic studies were done before this was even proposed. Some of their improvements include widening a nearby road and adding new traffic signals to help reduce some of the congestion. Village officials say this new store could help boost the local economy, bringing 500 jobs and additional sales tax revenue to the village. Construction could start as early as this spring, with plans to have that new box store up and running by 2027. Back to you guys.
Okay, Say, thank you very much for that update. It's 8:34. There is a big strike planned this week in Minnesota. This is to protest ICE.
Brian's here with more on that. Brian?
Well, this Friday, activists are asking people not to go to work, to school, or to stores. A planning meeting was held in Minneapolis to teach people how to organize their coworkers, students, and neighbors to all take part. Organizers say that they hope that this day of action somehow hits ICE in their pocketbooks.
Collectively, we have power over the economy. We have a lot of power if we leverage it through collective action, and that's what we're going to do on Friday.
Faith leaders have also asked people to pray and fast on Friday if they were able to do so. A rally and march are planned as well. Natalie?
Ryan, hundreds of protesters are calling for an end to capitalism as the annual World Economic Forum gets underway. Demonstrators gathered in Davos, Switzerland, where corporate leaders and government officials are meeting to discuss global political and economic issues. President Trump is on his way there right now. Protesters also were against war, which they say is accelerating climate change. Others rallied in support of the people of Greenland amid President Trump's recent talk about acquiring the territory.
Kind of capitalistic right-wing class is taking the power over everybody else, so it's very dangerous.
The protest comes right after the president announced a 10% tariff on 8 European countries opposing U.S. control of Greenland.
Here's a question you may not have considered before. Is sense of humor genetic? Do you get it through your DNA? Well, apparently not. Researchers in the UK say people think they get their sense of humor from their families, but the power of laughter apparently comes from your life experience, not your genes. You learn your comedic stylings along the way from your friends and your culture. And if you are making your family laugh, it's not them, it's you. Apparently it's you.
It's you. My 5-year-old, I feel like, is so funny. And I know kids say the craziest stuff, but the stuff she says is like really over the top. And I'm like, or my husband? Apparently not. She was just born with it, I guess.
Born with a great sense of humor. Are any of your kids little comedians in the making?
Yeah. They are so funny. But I disagree with this. I feel like I've done this before, too, where we have, like, facts. And
it's okay,
that's
Caitlin,
not right.
Yeah.
There's no way. Because you've met some odd birds, right? And you could just see that it's, like, in them. I don't think you can really change your sense of humor. I don't know. We'll have to talk about this.
It's a good question. I thought, like, all those Wayans brothers and, like, Charlie and Eddie Murphy, you think, like, it runs in the family, but this says otherwise.
I wonder if it's, like, I know we got to get to the weather, but in line with, like, being able to sing, for example. Like, do you get that from musical ability from your parents?
That probably.
In my case, no.
All right, let's talk about this forecast. It is very cold outside this morning. I don't have to tell you that. You know, it's 5 at the lakefront. These are the actual temperatures. 4 at O'Hare, 0 in Waukegan, as well as Woodstock and Aurora. You're at 0. Northwest Indiana around 1 to 5 for your temperature right now. Yikes. So the feel-like temperature below 0 over the next 12 hours. Actual temperatures reaching the low 20s. It is going to be a beautiful day, though, especially early. The further we get into the day, you can see more clouds are starting to build, and we do have the chance for snow returning this evening and tonight. Snow is possible. Accumulating snow is possible, especially north of Chicago, 21 degrees. So temperatures are going to stay pretty stagnant tonight. We're not dropping too much. In fact, we're heading in the opposite direction as we head into early tomorrow. A high of about 30 tomorrow with that west wind around 10 to 15, gusting up to 25. Best chance for snow will be early. And then again in the evening, we have some light scattered snow around. So let's time this out for you. During the day today, it's just chilly and quiet, beautiful. Here comes that snow. So this evening, tonight, 3:30 in the morning, seeing that snow come down. And then it moves out. Best potential for around 3 to 4 inches from Lake to McHenry County, right along the Wisconsin border. But the rest of us could get an inch or so of snowfall with more snow possible tomorrow evening. So we are looking at a range 1 to about 3 inches for Chicagoland with this snow. And then tomorrow, temperatures are going to be slightly better, as mentioned, around 30 before we drop off again with a high of only 0 on Friday. Saturday, right around 9. Back to you.
All right, Caitlin, thank you very much. Well, some of us on this side of the anchor desk, we're going to be celebrating Indiana's national championship for a very long time. And on Good Day Chicago at 9 o'clock, we are going to talk with a beat writer for the Indianapolis Star about how the Hoosiers pulled this off and what it means for all IU alums. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago. We're so glad you're with us on this super cold Tuesday morning. Time now is 8:42. The debate over Greenland has been dominating the conversation, obviously, for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, on the Chicago Report, Paris Schutz talked with the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. Cecile Shea is a member of that council, and she spoke about how it is upending longtime alliances.
What impact does this have on European allies and NATO at large?
Well, you're right, Paris. I tend to be very circumspect when I speak publicly, and the only words that I can find to describe the president's fixation on possibly even going to war over Greenland is insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane. First of all, we would be setting a precedent that a country can take over another country or another part of a country just because we're kind of interested in something that that country has. So then what would happen if Russia decides it wants part of Alaska, or China decides to take Guam, which is one of our territories, or some other country decides to take Wake Island in the Pacific? No other country is then going to support us in protesting or pushing back on that because we did it first. So that's problem one. Problem two, to your specific point, nothing has been more important to the United States since 1945, indeed possibly in the last 150 years, than NATO. Not only did NATO mean that there was not a World War III in Europe, and remember how many hundreds of thousands of Americans died in the first two world wars. It's meant that Europe could come together and build its economies, which have helped the entire U.S. economy grow, especially the Midwest, where we're so reliant on the export of food and agricultural products, as well as manufacturing, and where so many of our small businesses are reliant on being able to bring products in and components in from Europe and then resell them in the U.S. And so NATO, which brought peace to Europe and eventually allowed the European Union to develop, that's been absolutely vital to the U.S. And yes, what the president is doing is threatening. I never in my lifetime thought that I would see the militaries of Britain and Germany and the Scandinavian countries and France sending forces to Greenland, not to protect Greenland against Russia, but to protect Greenland against the United States. I mean, it's just insane. And it is so dangerous, so deeply, deeply dangerous. And really the only people who can rein the president right now are Congress, and they have not shown a lot of courage to do anything like that so far.
It sounds like
it's just vital.
They're MIA right now. Republicans just want to avoid answering questions about Trump, typical dance they've been doing for 10 years, and Democrats obviously speaking out. But the arguments that Trump makes, says if the U.S. doesn't acquire Greenland, Russia or China will. It's essential to the U.S.'s defense strategy. Is there truth to any of that?
So first of all, many of your viewers who served in the military did tours in Greenland. We already have bases in Greenland. You'll remember that the vice president and his wife visited one of those bases. In addition, and this is really key, we have the right to build more bases in Greenland. We have had an agreement with Denmark since the early 50s to, if we want to build a deeper port for our naval vessels, to enhance our Air Force and other capacities there. And it's because the security of the Arctic is vitally important. So the president could be saying, we're going to further secure the Arctic. We're going to take advantage of some of the agreements we have with NATO. We're going to invite our NATO allies to come in and help us and work with us and be based in Greenland also. But this is not doing that. I mean, we can defend, not can we? We have a duty to defend Greenland already because Greenland is part of Denmark, which is part of NATO.
Right.
We already are defending Greenland. So that's just a specious argument. It's just a ridiculous argument. And if the president is doing this because he's upset that he didn't get the Nobel Prize, again, why would you go to war to prove that you should have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize? That's illogical. But it's just further evidence that the president is not looking out for what is best for the U.S. citizens, for U.S. businesses, for U.S. farmers, that he's just settling scores.
And you mentioned, the president is also threatened or instituted tariffs on countries that will not support his desires to have the U.S. take over Greenland. But what happens if the president follows through on some kind of threat for some sort of use of force?
Well, so, then you have from my perspective, you have a constitutional crisis in the U.S. that goes all the way up the line to the military. And this is where it's so dangerous that he has been allowed to put so many of his sycophants and people only looking out for their own interests in the cabinet. And that one of those people, the Secretary of Defense, has fired a lot of good general officers all the way down to colonels throughout the military and tried to put in people who they trust to be loyal to the president. If it was 2 years ago, I would have said, there's no way that that the military would follow this order blindly. They would try to push back. They would try to prevent it. I don't know what would happen now. I don't know what the cabinet would do. The cabinet, at this point, you have to really question the president's judgment. And would the cabinet step in and try to say that, the 25th Amendment prevails? I don't trust them to do that. The only hope, Paris, if he did try to use violence to take Greenland, the only hope would be for Congress to say this is a crime against the Constitution. And I believe it would be. He would be violating a treaty that the U.S. Congress has voted to adopt. And he would be violating the War Powers Act in a way that is just unconscionable. Other presidents have done it, but never to go to war with an ally.
All right, we want to turn it over to Caitlin now, and she's going to take a look at the weather. And
feels like Greenland, right?
I was just going to say, it's so cold there.
Really, though, it's beautiful, but it's very cold. You can see the screens behind me, how bright blue it is over our stunning city, but the temperature 5 at the lakefront. Actual temperature 0 in Waukegan. I'm seeing below 0 temperatures just to our northwest there in Rockford. The rest of us, around 0 to 5 degrees. So it is 6 in Chicago Heights, 4 in Merrillville, 3 in Gary. Our warm spot, Joliet, at 10 degrees. Warm spot, 10. It is going to be a quiet day today, but we have changes brewing, including the chance for snow as soon as tonight into early tomorrow. And the wind chill really being our main headline, because this is what we have to deal with currently, and even into the afternoon, the wind chill playing a big role in how you should prepare before you leave the house. Feeling like 10 degrees below 0 at O'Hare, 13 degrees below 0 in Aurora. The winds have died down compared to yesterday, which is a positive. But for today, highs, low to mid-20s, normal high 31, so we're not too far off from where we should be for this year, about 10 degrees. Tonight, we're staying steady in the upper teens and low 20s, so we're not dropping too much tonight. And then tomorrow, we're back to about 30. But again, before we get to tomorrow's 30 degrees, we have the chance for some scattered snow showers. So let's take a look. Our futurecast showing during the day today, quiet except for the cold, sunny until this evening when the clouds start to build, and then we have that chance for snow, scattered snow expected tonight into early tomorrow. And then we have the potential again for returning snowfall scattered in nature tomorrow in the evening. You can see 4 or 5 on through 7 o'clock. And then it's out of here again. And then the temperatures will be the main headline as we end the week with brutally cold highs returning for Friday and Saturday, which you can see on this map behind me. 7-day forecast, 21 expected Thursday, Friday right around 0 as our high. 9 on Saturday, Sunday 17, 20 to start off next week. Monday, as far as this snow accumulation goes, 1 to 3 inches possible, especially for those of you in Lake and McHenry County right along the Wisconsin border. Outside of that, it could be a slick drive early and then again tomorrow late in the evening. But I wanted to show you the next 10-day outlook because maybe you're hoping for some relief from the cold. Unfortunately, our model is showing that as we head into next week, we're seeing the 19-degree range from Wednesday to Thursday, the mid to upper 20s back by the end of next week. So we are going to have that winter feel continuing into next week as well for us in Chicago. Jakey, what are you getting into this morning?
All kinds of trouble. Take a look behind me, Caitlin Cody. Whether it is the costumes of one of the most iconic musicals of all time, I'm talking about a show called Hamilton, or maybe the costumes of Wicked, or even West Side Story. A new exhibit here at Griffin MSI is going to remind you why Paul Tazwell is one of the greatest costume designers of all time. We're going to take you inside for a preview when we come back.
Fox 32 News.
All right, Jake Hamilton, always looking to go somewhere over the rainbow.
Yes, and he's getting his chance today. The rainbow led him to the Griffin Museum of Science and Industry, and he is live with the new Wicked exhibit. Tell us about it, Jake. Tell us about it, Jake.
Well, it's much more than just Wicked, guys. It's Paul Tazewell, who you could argue the man has found some success as a costume designer. He's won an Oscar. He's won a Tony. He's won an Emmy. And, I mean, just look behind me. This is some of the work he did for a little director named Steven Spielberg when they worked on a film called West Side Story. This yellow dress right here, worn by Ariana DeBose, who went on to win an Oscar for a role. So that dress right there is a kind of an Oscar-winning dress, if you think about it. This entire exhibit, it's called Crafting Character, the Costumes of Paul Tazewell. And one of the amazing people who made it possible right here. Here she is, Angela Williams, Director of Design. Angela, first of all, congratulations. This exhibit is beautiful.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, right behind us, the costumes of a little musical people might know called Hamilton. Yeah. You got to work with Paul very closely on this exhibit. How did that really change how all of it ended up sort of coming together?
That is a great question. It was just an honor and a pleasure. It was really about listening to Paul and his story, right? So when you come to the exhibition, you really have an opportunity to see from his early childhood, which is like such a special moment, things that he did with his mom as a little kid and doing marionettes and things like that, all the way through all of these productions. So it's an incredible experience.
You know, sometimes an exhibit will come through a museum and it'll be kind of part of a tour. You know, one city will have it, then another, then it'll come to Chicago. This is ours. This belongs to the city. It was not crafted by another city. It didn't come here from Cleveland or whatever the case may be. There's got to be some pride in that.
Absolutely. This is Chicago's own, right? We work with Paul and all of the other production houses to put this exhibition together. This is a one-of-a-kind experience, so you won't see this anywhere else.
Angela, you did an amazing job, and I think it says a lot that, you know, we're coming back every single hour on Good Day Chicago, and every hour we're in a different room with a different show, with a different set of costumes. At the end of the day, that's a testament to Paul's work, is it not?
It is. It's a must-see exhibition.
It really is. Well, and you're a big part of that, so thank you for bringing it to our city here in Chicago. Angela Williams, the Director of Design. Guys, it's a beautiful exhibit, and here's the great thing. It is now running through September 7th, and you don't need an extra price of admission. You don't need an extra ticket. You get in with the cost of admission here at Griffin MSI. Angela, really quickly, I'm moving into a new apartment in Chicago. I heard that the parting gift of doing these live shots, that I get to just take one. Is that right?
Yes, no, please.
But so you know my last name's Hamilton, so I get one, right?
No.
I heard yes. On that note, we're live out here, Griffin MSI. It is a new exhibit you're going to want to see. Everybody gets a costume to take home. I think I'd look quite stunning in that one.
Agree.
Don't you think, guys?
I agree, and you know, Jake's selective hearing on full display.
Right.
Just he hears what he wants to hear.
Yes, he does.
Which is remarkable.
I mean, but what I love about this is to see the size of those costumes.
Oh my gosh.
Are they large? Are they small? Because then you get an idea of these celebrities, how big they are, which we never get to see in person.
Fascinating look.
Right.
All right, we're back with our 9 o'clock hour right after this. It's nice and sunny outside, but boy, is it cold. We'll be right back.
Stream Good Day Chicago on